Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be talking all about Game of Thrones, what my predictions are, what I love about the show, and basically how I became a fan. I know, I'm 8 seasons late, but hey, at least I'm no longer part of the population who hasn't seen it. Also, in the spirit of the series finale, which is today, I want to cast my final predictions on who is going to win the Iron Throne, who's gonna sit on that precious metal chair, who is the last person or persons who are gonna die in this episode. And since it's today, I just want to make my bets before we watch the final episode. Game of Thrones started when I was in college, and I remember most of my blockmates used to talk about it, and even my English professor back at the time loved it. She said she was on her 3rd season at the time, and I have to say I wasn't really a fan back then. It's only until now, because my office mates, basically the client service team, my team, sort of got us into watching the show. And as you may not know, I haven't watched a full episode until season 8. So my first full episode was episode 1 of season 8. Although I did watch a lot of the recaps from the past 7 seasons. Thankfully, YouTube was able to summarize 7 seasons of the story, and I think I somehow get that yes, the White Walkers were such a big threat that they could possibly destroy the wall. I've been a fan of Emilia Clarke for a long time, so I do like Daenerys. She's been my favorite character so far. I do know who the bad guys are. I know that Cersei is not a good queen, and that her lover is Jaime, and that all of her kids are not really true-born Baratheons. So I think I did a good job catching up on the past 7 seasons, but I definitely will be rewatching seasons 1 to 8 after the show is done. After today, actually. So how did I become a fan? Well, after that first episode from season 8, I was blown away. Like, wow, this is a really good story, and I can tell that it's well thought of. I love the script. I love the humor in it as well, and I love it. I enjoyed my first episode, even if it seems way behind, and I know I've missed a lot. I can't relate to all of the characters, and it's kind of hard being in a room with half your teammates relating on every character and getting so excited whenever one of the characters that they like are on the screen. So now, in the spirit of its finale, I do have a list. Actually, this list started with my teammates. We each had a death list at first, and our tactic is to play this sort of bingo game. So whoever is the person whose characters on a particular list gets crossed off gets to be exempted for paying lunch. And the first version of the list that we made was a survivor list. So all of us each had 10 people who we think are going to survive the Battle of Winterfell. Oh my, that episode 3, it was a long, stressful, intense, and somehow terrifying episode. I swore I needed Valium at the time. Anyway, for that list, I lost. Well, in my defense, I don't know the capacity of the people I voted for at the time. I didn't know whether they could actually survive, or the White Walkers are stronger than them. So I lost, and Mark was the winner. So technically, we all had to pay for his share of the lunch. But that's fine, because now on my death list, I am leading. Okay, moving on to the list. Now, this list is the list that we made 2 weeks before. We all had a final death list. So our first list was for whoever survives the Battle of Winterfell, or episode 3. And for episode 4, 5, and 6, we all have a final piece of paper. And we all submitted that because we can no longer change once we've submitted our papers. Now, this is just a copy of the paper I submitted to Justin. All the papers are with Justin. She's the one who crosses out the characters. And I have to say, I am quite in luck. I actually do have a chance of winning this time. So here is my death list. And the same rule applies. Whoever gets to finish his or her list first gets to be exempted for the lunch today. So I'm very excited. So first on my death list is, of course, Euron Greyjoy. I just don't like Euron. I don't know his backstory just yet, but ever since I've watched him in the first episode, I really did not like his character. Not him, his character. So he's on top of my list. Whether I win this or not, I just want him dead. And thanks to episode 5, shout out to Jaime Lannister, Euron Greyjoy is dead. I'm crossing Euron off my list. He's gone. Alright. Next person on my list is Cersei Lannister. So I presume both Jaime and Cersei have exited the show. I've watched the inside episode and both Dan and David sort of confirmed with their thoughts that yes, both characters are dead. So goodbye, Cersei. Actually, if we made a bet on the 4 main characters, particularly Jon, Daenerys, Tyrion, and Cersei, we all get 2 points each. But the 2-point system is only if there's a tiebreaker. And unfortunately, Joyce and I both voted for Cersei to go first. So now we both have 1 person on our list left. So I gotta win this. So crossing out Cersei. Next in my list is Missandei. She died. Episode 4. R.I.P. to you, girl. I hope you're happily traveling back to Naath as we speak. Next on my list is Rhaegal. Yeah, poor baby dragon. He's gone. 6th person on my list is Jaime. So, Jaime's gone. I would love to see them on the final episode just for closure. Because just like the million people who are really huge fans of the show, I'm quite disappointed on how they both died. Like Cersei being killed by bricks. I feel like that's an easy way to go. So crossing off Jaime. Last on my list is Qyburn. Yes, love the way he died because he was in the way of Clegane Bowl. Alright, so this is what my list looks like right now. So I have 6 people crossed off. The only one remaining is Daenerys Targaryen. Now Joyce's last person is Grey Worm, and I sure hope and pray that if they're both gonna die, then I hope Daenerys dies in the first 20 minutes of the show or in the second act. But I don't know, I feel like they're gonna save Emilia Clarke's exit for the last minutes of the show. Like she's gonna have a very dramatic ending. And I feel like Drogon, she's gonna be writing Drogon for the last time, even after she dies. So I don't know, I hope. Many people think that Grey Worm is gonna die defending Daenerys. As to who's gonna kill Daenerys, I really don't know, and I don't care as of the moment. The only thing I care about is whether she dies. I don't want her to die because I love Emilia Clarke's character, but she's on my death list, so she has to go. Now, who kills her? I'm probably gonna leave it to fate. It could be Jon, Could be Arya, could be anyone else. She could have committed suicide instead. She could probably just stab herself after Drogon melts the Iron Throne. There are so many endings that the producers filmed. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see until 12, because that's the only time we can watch. So I do have one more list, which is not part of the game anymore, in honor of the Game of Thrones finale. I've made a little list of who will win the Iron Throne, and I only placed 3 people because, let's face it, not everybody is qualified to sit on that precious chair. And I just want to place my bet as well. I want to make a prediction whether I'm right or I'm wrong. I just want to know. So first on my list is, of course, Daenerys. Well, the thing is, it's gonna be an hour and 20 or 30 minutes. It's gonna be that long. And I've chosen Daenerys to be the first person to sit on the throne, because I feel like the producers gave her that kind of closure also. She fought hard for that throne. She even burned the city for it. She became the Mad Queen that she was avoiding to be. So I think somehow she'll get a chance to, if not sit on it, then at least see it for the last time. But still betting on her. Second is of course Jon Snow. Well, he's Aegon Targaryen. He has the right to sit on that, but I don't think he will sit on it for that long. I feel like he's probably gonna give it to someone else. Most likely Sansa or Gendry. I love Gendry. So maybe if Sansa sits on the Iron Throne, she will need a king. And who better to rule with her than the newly legitimized Lord of Storm's End, Gendry Baratheon. I just love Gendry. I know it's a big contradiction to the Arya and Gendry love affair, but Arya rejected him, and Sansa has always wanted to be a queen, married to a king, and ruling a kingdom. So maybe years later, Sansa and Gendry will get together and make babies. Finally, making the late Robert Baratheon's wish come true, which is to join the House of Stark in the House of Baratheon. So, yeah, I don't know. I really don't know who is gonna win, who's gonna sit on the throne. I have a feeling Drogon's just gonna melt it, and we're gonna have a democracy in Westeros instead. But I just want to make this final bet in honor of the final episode, because it's today. There's not gonna be another Game of Thrones episode ever. And now for most of you, it's your high school years or your college years. So I do get the feeling. I feel the exact same sentiment on how hard it is to no longer wait for another episode. I mean, I just don't get why season 8 is only 6 episodes. Like, I do wish that there'll be another episode left, because I think for me, Game of Thrones was sort of another bonding with my teammates. We actually book a conference room every lunchtime, all Mondays of May, and we would gather together, have lunch together, and watch on a big projector using Danny's HBO account. So I am gonna miss the GOT Mondays that we used to have. I'm gonna miss just how we're all gathered in one room and watching it together. And it's not something that we just anticipate on a weekly basis. It's not something that we just watch weekly. It has become a part of our daily conversation, you know. Like on a boring Tuesday afternoon, we would get together and just talk about our opinions on the previous episode, or we would gather our theories and talk about what happens next. And of course, Game of Thrones has gathered a huge fan base all over the world. It's the most watched. It's the longest one to film and edit. I don't think I've ever come across a show that's an hour and 20 minutes long. It's like watching a movie. It's the biggest in terms of production budget. It has the grandest costumes and film sets. The locations are always breathtaking, and in general, just the most expensive show I've ever known. And with all that being said, I think it's high time for me to really invest in this show. It's about time to know the characters and learn their stories. And I know it's late. I may be a little late, but like the old saying goes, better late than never. Now, I've been a fan of drama series my whole life. I think the first time I ever watched a drama series was back in grade school. I was in 6th grade, and I remember how hard it was for me to say goodbye to Gossip Girl, One Tree Hill, Vampire Diaries, and just how heartbroken I was when one or two of the main characters died in each of the season finale, and how shocked I was when Gossip Girl was revealed to be Dan Humphrey. So I do know that Game of Thrones is definitely gonna leave a huge mark on its fans all over the globe, and that is today. Today we say goodbye to one of the most popular, highly anticipated, most watched, most waited show on the planet right now. We say goodbye to Daenerys. We say goodbye to Westeros and its beautiful story. Today it ends, and although I've only been a recent fan, I know what it's like to say goodbye, and I know how hard it is to not be able to watch it anymore, not be able to wait 2 years for a new season, because there's not going to be another season. It's goodbye Game of Thrones. And today we find out who will sit on the Iron Throne. Today we say goodbye, and with that I'd like to end this video as well. Thank you so much for watching, and happy viewing, happy Game of Thrones Day, hashtag for the throne. I'll definitely be coming back to this video if my bets are true, and hopefully I win the game. Thank you so much again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, and of course give this video a huge thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!